Starting apparently. Oh, here we go. Hello and welcome to another edition of Shoot the Defense on FNX, brought to you by My Sportswear and Save Association. I'm your host, Stel, and this is going to be a bit of a funny show tonight because two of my co-hosts are everywhere. Like Yannikis is on the Google Hangouts. Say hello to everyone, my friend.
Hello everybody.
Oh, well done. You got a smile on your face despite United's absolute dog shit performance.
I've got a smile because I don't want to cry in front of our viewers.
It's all right, don't worry about it. Our second co-host, as ever, is Rodri Giggs. The power of 4G or 3G or whatever we're using these days. How you doing, Rod?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Good considering after watching that.
Absolutely. Well, we've got a special guest tonight. He's a Tottenham Hotspur fan, a gentleman that I've been trying to get on for quite a while. He's finally on. It's Dan Tracy. Welcome to the show, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. Thanks for having me on. I think we're all sort of in a Champions League mood. I think I've just about come out of mine after last week. But as you say, United's defeat is probably everyone's in the same boat now, aren't they? So we can just see that in full in a bit.
Well, mate, I'll tell you what, at least your lot went down fighting. I'll give you that.
Yeah, but I think we should, I think we're both situations, we should have won the game there. And I think we're both guilty of taking the second legs for granted. Tottenham were in a rare position where they were favourites. We've not really been sort of in that position over this season with ties such as Dortmund and Real Madrid. But I think going into that game last Wednesday, we certainly thought we could do this, and we didn't. And it went wrong, didn't it? And I think we were outfoxed by Allegri's substitutions in the second half. I think for me that was the key difference.
Well, the thing is, you guys had a really good first leg. So going into the second leg, you're thinking, okay, we've got 2 away goals. You got a goal early as well, didn't you? Early in the second half?
We got the goal late in the first half.
Late in the first half, sorry, yeah.
Well, I think really what it was, if you took those 2 matches together, that's what, 180 minutes played. Tottenham were on top for 165 of those. It's only 15 minutes, I'd say 10 in Turin, 5 at Wembley, where we weren't the better team, and Juventus just showed their ruthlessness, and we got punished for it.
Yeah. The thing is, they won 6 Serie A titles on the bounce, so they're obviously no mugs. Listen, I know I don't want to ask this question. Well, I'm going to ask it anyway, but did Spurs actually bottle it? Because in my opinion, I don't think they bottled it. I just think they came across a team that was more organised and more effective going forward.
I think bottled would be incredibly harsh, to be honest. I think really, it's not really down to the players. I think it's a measure of where Allegri is as a manager and where Pochettino is. I think Pochettino is lauded as great, and rightly so, and he will go on to have a great career, hopefully glittering with sort of trophies at Tottenham. But Allegri shows that difference, like you just said. Juventus have won 6 league titles. I know he's not been responsible for all of them, but the pedigree he's got to get to Champions League final, what was it, 2 in the last 3 seasons, it just shows how good he is. And I think, like I say, he outwitted Pochettino, and the game was probably won in the technical area and not on the pitch itself.
So do you fancy yourself getting top 4 for next season?
I think, yes, I'm confident. I think the key period was those 3 matches where we had United, Liverpool and Arsenal in a row to get 7 points out of 9. This puts us in a really good, strong position now. I think the momentum is growing. That momentum might be halted by Harry Kane's injury. It depends how long he's out for, but I think with a 5-point buffer over Chelsea and going to Chelsea next in our Premier League match, I know there's, 3 weeks to get there, what the international break and such, but that's a key fixture. We can go to Stamford Bridge. It's not even really a do or die sort of game. It's not necessarily must win for us. So a draw there, you keep that 5 points, and I think then the run of fixtures sets up to be quite nicely for us. So at the moment, I am confident.
Well, I'm glad you're confident, because us 3 United fans are, I'm not even going to say upset. It's just, I feel kind of angry. I feel disappointed. I feel let down. United lost 2-1 tonight to Sevilla out of the Champions League. To be fair, should have lost the first leg had it not been for De Gea's heroics. We probably would have gone in the second leg 2 or 3-0 down. Jan, that was probably the most gutless United performance I've actually seen in years, and I'm talking 10 years.
Yeah. Lack of quality, lack of desire, lack of ambition, negative tactics from a negative manager. I'm going to be controversial, and I know what your thoughts of, like my thoughts of Mourinho are with United. He's not a Man United manager still. his philosophy. If he bought Messi, he'll play him left back. That's the manager. He'll play everybody in a position where he just wants them to defend. I have never seen a Man United. I mean, we had Van Gaal and we were playing sideways and backwards. This manager's doing exactly the same. We are clueless. We are spineless. We talk about Tottenham being bottlers. What are Man United? Where was the fight tonight? Where was the quality? I mean, I'm so angry still. It's beyond it's not. I can't even put it into words. That's how upset I am. I'm very upset. I couldn't see it coming. I really couldn't, and that's worrying. For me, Mourinho's got to go, and it's got nothing to do with tonight. For me, it's just his style of football at United. It's pathetic. It's poor. It's negative. Doesn't suit the club. I mean, you can hear the fans tonight turning on the players. When do United fans turn on the players? They don't. But tonight they did because of the negativity of United's play. It's poor. It's embarrassing. And especially watching the neighbours as well playing the football that they do. Liverpool, Tottenham. Watching United, it's abysmal. It's appalling. I'm sorry, but it's really bad. I've had enough of it. Really have.
Well, you want Mourinho to go. Okay, Rod. Go on. What's your take? First of all, what's your take on the game? And secondly, do you agree with Jan? Should Mourinho go?
Oh, the game. You start with the fans. The atmosphere on Saturday was fantastic. It hasn't been like that Old Trafford for ages. And then you'd expect on a last 16 Champions League 0-0 all to play for the place would be buzzing. It was again like a library. If we can go through the team. Bailly looked dodgy, Smalling looked dodgy. It's worrying when Manchester United in one of the biggest teams in the world, and your best players week in, week out, your goalkeeper, your left back, or your right back, which are not left back or right back, they're wingers. And so it's worrying. You go through the team tonight. Matic, average. Lingard, didn't see him. Pogba was shocking. Lukaku, he had no help. He worked hard. He did his best he can. Rashford did okay. Sanchez, non-existent. It's just Fellaini, non-existent. So you can probably get through the game with one or two, but when there's so many not performing, and like Jan says, when you got a Mourinho, but we know he's like this now. We know what Mourinho's all about. So I don't understand why people still complain about it. This is what Mourinho does.
The thing is that every time United lose, especially in a game like this, there's always going to be a post-mortem. We've had it over the years. I remember when we lost to Dortmund in the semi-finals of the Champions League, we lost 1-0 at home, and people were saying, oh, Ferguson's lost it, Cantona's not this, and they can't cope in Europe, and yada, yada, yada. But the difference is back then, that team had balls, that team had fight. I looked at that lineup, and obviously the manager picks the team. So don't get me wrong, the buck stops at the manager right now. I'm Jose's biggest fan, one of his biggest fans. But I'll be the first one to tell you guys right now that the buck stops with him in this scenario, right? He picked the team. It was a very negative team. But then when you look at the players that he's put out, he's put Smalling out. He's put Eric Bailly, who isn't 100%. He's put Ashley Young at left back, which I cannot understand why he constantly picks Ashley Young at left back. He had a great game at the weekend, but listen, this guy can't play 2 games in 4 days. He can't. And then when you look at the midfield, he's got Matic and Fellaini. Why do you need to play these 2 players? I don't understand. McTominay, why did he play him? And I'm seeing Alexis Sanchez, and look, don't get me wrong, Sanchez is a fantastic footballer. But sticking him out wide left, there's no point. He's so predictable. Give him that number 10 role, give him that free role, and then you'll see more from him. I just think that, we went very naive today. We actually took Sevilla as a joke, which is quite frustrating because...
Well, that's the frustrating bit, because it looked to me as if the players were going, as if it was just a formality. All we've got to do is turn up, and it's Champions League in the last 16. Sevilla, no mugs. All right, they're not the best teams in the Champions League, but there's no mugs, and you can't go out in a football match with that type of attitude. And if you do, you see the result we got tonight. So, the players, I'm sure, if they started the game like they finished it in the last 10 minutes, we wouldn't be having this conversation. It'd be an easy win. But if you start the game and then you've got to try and get into the game in the last 5-10 minutes. It's impossible, and it's not impossible. Maybe the old United side do, but the players we've got now are a million miles away from that. So you thought Pogba come on, he comes on, you expect him to change the game, and he's kicking the ball out of play. It's just, I've been defending him from the start of the season. He played well, but since he's come back, he's just been shocking. He's been absolutely terrible. So was Sanchez. I don't understand why he keeps on playing Sanchez, because he's not been playing well either. Rashford has done brilliant playing on the left when he plays on the right, and he's still effective, but you'd prefer him on the left. And like I say, put Sanchez in number 10. Jesse Lingard didn't perform. He had a good season, but he was just on distance tonight. The gap from midfield to Lukaku tonight was just evident. It was just shocking. And I felt sorry for Lukaku, because he's working hard, he's playing well. The balls are going up to him are all over the show, and he's doing his best. There's just no support for him. Yeah. And just the negative attitude is just boring.
The thing is,
now I know what it feels like to be an Arsenal fan.
Well, listen. The thing is, I'm not making excuses. So don't get me wrong. I'm not making excuses, but our players look absolutely knackered. The last 20 minutes against Liverpool, I mean, if Liverpool had stepped up a gear, they'd have won the game, I think, anyway.
You say that, girl, but if you set out at the start of the game like they finished the last 10 minutes with intensity, with not sitting back and letting an average Spanish side come to Old Trafford and dictate the game. We get in the faces, high tempo, and win the game and try and score early on. Not just lethargic, let them have the ball, pass it back, and just not do anything about it. It's just getting sick and tired of the Mourinho way. It's just boring.
Well, but put it so right. One minute, I mean, the way I see it is that when we went in at half-time 0-0, I thought, okay, fair enough. It's not a great result. But in the day, I'd rather us play in second gear first half and then go full pelt in the second. But that wasn't even there. I mean, it wasn't even there when we got the goal back. I'm seeing Chris Smalling going up there, just diving about. I mean, I thought it was Phil Jones going up for corners. Honestly.
He's playing Matic and Fellaini, and there's still massive spaces in front of the centre half, so they weren't even doing the job properly. Yeah. It was just like even Matic was, he's been brilliant this season, but even he was just like getting caught on the ball. It's just his attitude, leaving areas and leaving big holes. And it was just amateurish for a Manchester United side, and it was just poor attitudes all around, and that goes with the manager as well.
Go on, Jan.
Just going back to the point that you made about the Dortmund game all them years ago. I remember that game. We had about 30 shots on goal that game.
Exactly.
Yeah. Tonight we had 3 shots on goal. In the first leg, we had 1 shot on target. Liverpool in the second half. On Saturday, we didn't even have a shot on target. This is the Man United that we're used to at the moment. Now, yeah, we've got Mourinho, but if United fans are willing to accept this, then, I'm not going to moan anymore then, because, I'm going to accept this negative football, this negative thing about the whole club. It's pathetic. I'm really sorry, but the club of our size, the players that we've brought in, to have 1 shot on goal against a poor Sevilla side. Let's make no things about it. They're not a good side. To have 1 shot on goal in the first leg, when I say on goal, as in on target, and tonight at Old Trafford, 3 shots on target the whole game against that team. And we're going to sit and go, well, yeah, that's Mourinho's way. I'm sorry, but I'm not accepting that. I'm not. I think we need somebody to come in who's a younger manager.
Mourinho's way. Be... on Saturday when they did it against Liverpool, but won.
It won because Liverpool were poor on the day. What did we do second half, Rodri, on Saturday? We defended for 45 minutes and hoped Liverpool wouldn't score a goal. That was United.
We won 2-1. He wasn't complaining. He was happy. He was jolly. Now we've got beat doing it. Now he started complaining.
No. I'm not complaining. I was happy about the result. I was petrified about the performance. That wasn't a good performance on Saturday.
Oh, calm down. Yeah, calm down.
Not winning.
That was not a good performance on Saturday. We're going to talk about the game on Saturday. That wasn't a good performance. The result was good. The performance weren't good.
This is box office. This is brilliant. Dan, Listen, you're probably getting bored there. What can you tell us about United? Because I remember, we played you guys at Wembley. It was an absolutely piss poor performance. Spurs deserved the win because they were 100 times better than United. I'm sure you maybe fell asleep first half of United's game. What did you make of it?
United just seem one pace, don't they? I mean, they almost played as if they were too frightened about conceding an away goal at 0-0. And what they should have done is taken the game by the scruff of the neck and tried to kill it off early. Just, go for an early goal, put Seville then on the back foot. Then if they're 1-0 down, they've got to come out further, which then you try and pick them up to get the second. But it was all sort of the wrong way round. And then by the time you're 2-0 down, only then do you start pulling your finger out. Lukaku gets the goal, but it's all in vain, really, isn't it? And to a certain degree, it was the same against Tottenham at Wembley. Again, it's one pace. It's all very predictable. You sort of know what's going to happen with United now. There's nothing that's going to sort of... I mean, Saturday was slightly different. Rashford was like a sort of spark, which was good to see again because he's not played since Boxing Day in the Premier League. So that was sort of interesting. But it's just so... I think with United, they're pragmatic. And like Rodri said, it's great if you win and you get those results because ultimately it's points over performance at times, especially in the big games like Liverpool, because it's win by hook or by crook. Tonight, obviously, on the flip side, he's got it wrong and you've lost, and the ramifications are much, much bigger. So, it depends where you want to sort of hang your hat, really. Do you want to just go with the points and the potential trophies that come with them, or do you actually want to see free-flowing football? With some clubs, they'll settle for the former, but with United and their sort of history of free-flowing attacking football under teams like Fergie and all such things like that, they're not going to settle for those, dare I say, lesser standards. So it's hard to really sort of define whether Mourinho's doing the right thing or not, because you're still second in the Premier League. If you finish in the top 4, is this exit forgotten and you just go again next season? I'm sure the fan base will be split. I mean, you can just analyse between the two conversations there. Some are probably sort of making some case for Mourinho, whereas Jan's not so keen at the moment, wanting to go out. So it's half a dozen of one, six of the other, isn't it?
Mm. Well, look, put it this way: if you
it goes down, sorry, Delta, it just goes down to your losses in the club as well. He won the league at Real Madrid, get sacked him because they won't accept the way that Mourinho plays. So, how long does the board do? He's just given a new contract, so they're obviously happy with it. So we're just going to have to grin and bear it and put up with it. But it's just going to get worse if he continues to play like that and not win anything.
Yeah.
Well, that's what goes back to sort of if the financial bottom line's been sorted and you're back in the Champions League, then there's no real desire to kick him out of the club, is there? Like you say, Real Madrid, they wouldn't settle for that, even if you do win the league. The standards aren't up to the sort of football, the image that they are meant to conjure up, then you're off. United, it seems to be, dare I say, settling for second best. If City are running away with the league, it's okay. We're the best of the rest, that'll do. And if you repeat it next season, because at the moment, looking at the two teams on paper, there's no way United are going to get close to City on performances like that. So is that acceptable again? With a new contract, it probably is, isn't it? So, it's not going to make everyone happy, but the boards and the people who worry about the numbers certainly will be.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm just going to end this right now with United's European campaign. Ironically, I'm pretty sure that the warning signs are already there. Last season, when we played the likes of Celta Vigo, when we just about struggled to get to the final, when we just about beat Anderlecht, obviously the squad is not good enough. The squad hasn't been good enough to compete for years.
I know you're correct there what you're saying, but from the year before when it was Louis van Gaal, it was a massive improvement. One, it was scoring goals and keeping clean sheets, and now it's gone. Even though we've gone better than last year, we finished 6th last year, so it's improvement. We've gone second, so it's a gradual improvement. But we're so used to the way of football at Old Trafford and the way we play. It's just the complete opposite, and it's just how long are the United fans going to put up with it without winning things?
Yeah, but Rod, we weren't winning things under David Moyes, and okay, Van Gaal's first season wasn't great. Okay, got top 4, but the fans still turned up. I mean, it's not a complete and utter disaster. I mean, I think that tonight just showed how far behind United are. And I know Jan said that Sevilla aren't a good team, but they scored 3 goals at Anfield, didn't they?
Yeah.
No, they scored two at Anfield. They drew 2.
Okay, they scored 2 at Anfield, which is 2 more than a lot of teams have. So
Yeah, but Liverpool play attacking football. Liverpool are going to give you chances to score. Tonight, we're supposed to be this defensive side who doesn't concede goals, and Sevilla in the second half tore us apart. So
yeah, because the defending ain't good enough. You got two wingers at fullback. Listen, let's move on because we're going to go on all night about this. And let's talk about the game on when was it? Saturday. Yeah, it was apparently it was the biggest derby in England. Apparently it's lost its edge over the past couple of seasons, but I was about to say the intense gurning and bragging rights for the fans of the winning side won't go away anytime soon. But after tonight, I think Liverpool fans actually laughing at United. Now, Rashford joined the likes of Jimmy Greenhoff, Gordon McQueen, Peter Davenport, Eric Cantona, David Beckham, Diego Forlan, John O'Shea, and a few more who've been match winners against Liverpool. Now, 2 goals for the youngster that etched his name in the history books and moved United 5 points clear of their deadly rivals. A by own goal made it in nearly half an hour for United, but they were hardly threatened, although Liverpool probably should have had the penalty in the dying moments. So, Rod, it's quite a performance, especially in the first half. Did you expect United to play with such intensity in the first half?
Well, you don't know what to expect, but of late he's gone at the big sides and gone and started well and gone with like an offensive style, and it was a good performance. And obviously, Liverpool had a lot more possession than us, but David De Gea didn't have nothing to do. So, and for me, the penalty wasn't a penalty either one. If it was going to be any, I'd probably blend in the Mane one. I just think it's coming together. He's looking for it. I don't think Delaney even sees him there. They just tried to cover the ball. So I don't think either of them were penalties, but it was nice to see it because it is probably the biggest club game in England. I know some City fans or Arsenal fans would argue with that, but it was a good result, and it's just disappointing to not follow it on with a better result.
Well, yeah, and I was actually quite concerned to see United drop so deep in the second half. I think the plan was to let Liverpool have most of the possession and block off areas they're probably most threatening in, but it worked, but at a cost.
I think with Liverpool, if you sit back, it's a lot. I think they find it a lot more difficult to break teams down. But where if you're on the offensive and break very quickly, then they can kill you very quickly with the pace they've got up front. So, Mourinho's obviously got the lead, and got the players behind the ball, and it made it difficult for Liverpool, and obviously made it very difficult for him because David De Gea didn't have a save to make. So it was a good result in the end. It's just like it was just a pity they couldn't follow up tonight.
Well, Dan, Marcus Rashford hadn't started a league game since Boxing Day, mate. It actually looked like Jose's plan to use him sparingly is paying off. What do you make of him?
Well, I think he's a great player. I mean, it's almost, I don't know if it's a worry or not, that how far he can get with United. Is he going to plateau due to the talent around him? It seems that every time he gets nearer to the first team, someone else gets brought in to sort of take him down a step. You've got Sanchez coming in the January transfer window, which has just stifled him slightly. Obviously, he's the hero on Saturday, but you then wonder how much game time he's going to get between now and the end of this season. Maybe it will be to England's benefit more than anything else that someone will be fresher, because I know we talk about English player burnout and playing too many matches, so it might be a case that Rashford's almost sort of kept in kid gloves and Gareth Southgate gets the benefit in Russia. So, great performance, but is it really enough to sort of be playing week in, week out? I'm not too sure due to the sort of personnel that United have. But again, that also goes back to whether Mourinho actually knows what his first and best 11 is.
It's a fair point. Well, yeah, Liverpool could have had 2 penalties, mate. One for the handball by Valencia. And the other one was Fellaini's challenge on Mane. Now, had Liverpool come away with a draw, do you think they would have deserved it? I mean, they didn't look anything like the Liverpool side we've seen rip teams apart this season.
I think the penalties, to be honest. I think both of them are. I think Valencia's got enough time to move his arm away and he stops the cross coming in. So I think that's a penalty. And also I think Fellaini was cute with Mane. He knows what he's doing. Mane's going to go ahead and he's just put his leg and he's tripped him over for me. So I think they did deserve 2 penalties. And Liverpool have been known for getting penalties at Old Trafford. I think they're the only club that I remember that seemed to get 2 and 3 penalties at Old Trafford. So, You know, I was surprised that they weren't given. As for the game, yeah, Liverpool were disappointed. I thought they were disappointed in the first game as well. They didn't in both games. They haven't really opened up United, and I guess you know, you got to give credit to the manager there for setting up his tactics to kind of notify Liverpool's threats up front. What United did was kind of sit deep and not allow any holes in behind for like Salah and Mane to get in behind, which, you know, you give Liverpool the ball in midfield, but they're not going to hurt you as such if they don't go in behind. So the tactics work well. I think overall United deserved it on the balance of the game. I think 2-1 was probably the fair result.
Great. There you go. I think you can end that United segment with a smile on your face, I guess, somehow.
Yeah.
Right, Rashford's brace on Saturday was overshadowed by the shenanigans going on at the London Arena, or the London Stadium, or whatever it's called these days, where two pitch invasions marred Burnley's 3-0 win over West Ham. Actually, I think that's Burnley's second win in like 12 games. The relationship between fans and the club's owners has become beyond toxic, and the team's performances on the pitch lately have done nothing to calm the situation. Now, Dan, Mark Noble told the BBC that some fans let their opinions and feelings take over. Now, I know Noble was taking the sit on the fence approach, mate, but I can't see how this can or will get better with Gold, Sullivan and Brady in charge. What's your take on the whole situation at West Ham?
Well, I actually live about 10 minutes from the stadium. It's actually really, really close to where I live. But so it's quite a pressing topic at the moment. But I think the problem with the club at the moment is that West Ham fans have obviously been promised this ideal that after leaving Upton Park after so many years, they'll move into a new football stadium that will, in turn, get them up the table. They'll be competing for European football, and they'll have a star-studded team of superstar players. None of that's been delivered. The stadium is poor in terms of an actual football sort of arena due to the fact that the sightlines are awful. You can hardly see anything when you're there. There's no investment in the team. They're going down the table in the post two up, and it seems that the investment isn't there. So the atmosphere has become very, very toxic. West Ham are also sort of led a merry dance by the local council because the council didn't want the stadium to become a white elephant after the Olympics. So they needed a tenant. So the deal was almost too good for the likes of Gold, Sullivan and Brady to turn down. So hence they almost sort of sold the image of the West Ham fans, which is fallen flat on its face. So the sort of real overriding issue now is whether this toxic atmosphere is going to be the one thing that takes them down. Because if you look last month or sort of start of the year, just around sort of Christmas, so West Ham were putting themselves out of the drop zone, weren't they? They were looking up the table as opposed to over their shoulder. Now the situation is getting pretty bleak, so you do have to wonder what the end game is. I would think possibly relegation, because I think that will come before the club gets sold and a new change of owners. So I think really they're going to have to rough it out even more before it gets better.
Do you know what? You guys might disagree with me on this, but I don't think West Ham's situation would be anything like this had they stayed at the Bowling Ground. I think moving to that stadium has been an absolute disaster for them, and it's going to take it's going to take more than just big changes in personnel in the club. I mean, it's going to take big changes all over.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think, like I say, they've almost been sold this grandiose image of where the club could be, and it's nowhere near what it could and should be. I mean, can you halt progress? I know whether this progress is, I don't know, but I think everyone's moving to new stadiums. You look at Tottenham as a perfect example where it could be going, and hopefully the trajectory will kick on even further. So you're sort of damned if you do and damned if you don't, really, because you can't necessarily be seen to be playing in an older ground. You look at something like Everton, for example, they've got their own desires to move into a stadium after being at Goodison Park for so many years. So then the worry for them is, would things get worse in the same sort of situation as West Ham? Probably not, due to the owner seems to be more clued up. But I think it's worrying times at West Ham at the moment.
Absolutely. Well, Jan, I'm not sure if this is going to happen, but the pitch invasion might actually lead to a points deduction with West Ham 3 points away from the drop zone. Now, this act of protestation will actually look even more stupid if they go down. It's almost like, you remember when Middlesbrough didn't turn up against Blackburn?
Yeah, that's 3 points.
There you go.
Yeah. The FA have to act, because when the players' safety on the pitch start becoming an issue, then you know, it's a big problem. I mean, I don't know if you saw the clips of the stewards at West Ham sleeping while, you know, the fans are walking onto the pitch or running onto the pitch. That's worrying because they're supposed to protect everyone around them. So the FA have to act. It's probably, I don't know, because of maybe you know, how the Premier League is and how big it is. Maybe deducting West Ham points might not happen, but I think they might get a really, really big fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And Rod, West Ham actually count themselves a little bit lucky. The 4 teams below them also lost at the weekend. So that was West Brom. They got a hiding at home against Leicester. Palace were the only team to actually put up much of a fight, going down 2-1 at Chelsea. It's still a proper dogfight down at the bottom, mate. But given recent events at West Ham, has that sealed their fate?
Possibly. That's just think they'll have enough, and there's so many teams below them that are struggling right now that I can't see them. Like if we look at it, it's probably from Swansea down, Swansea, Huddersfield, West Ham, Southampton, Palace, Stoke, West Brom are down. So it's between Stoke, Palace, Southampton, West Ham, Huddersfield, and Swansea. I still think Swansea will go down to myself, and it's probably out of Southampton and Stoke to go down with West Brom. So I think West Ham will just do enough by the teams that are below and not winning games. But, you know, it wasn't good scenes. I agree with you. I don't think we'd have these kind of problems with the bowling down. But, you know, probably the fans will say different because got Sullivan and goal. They don't spend money. They just seem to take money out of the club and not invest in a fantastic club. It is a fantastic club, West Ham. They've got great history, and it's just a pity to see them sign this kind of scenes on the weekend.
Didn't they have proper bouncers at Upton Park? It wasn't just stewards.
That's another thing they seem to cut budget. Obviously, they've got to pay big money to pay police, so that they obviously have stewards, and the stewards can deal with the amount of fans that are protesting. So that's something they have to look at, and they can't penny pinch anymore and get proper policing in there, so this kind of stuff doesn't happen.
Well, they don't even pay for the stewarding themselves. It's externally put on. That's one of the terms. It's the cost they didn't have to outlay. So it's not penny pinching, but it's not a cost for them. So it's lowest common denominator stuff, really. Just get a few stewards scattered around the ground. But as we saw on Saturday, it's nowhere enough.
Yeah, it just seems like people that are more used to stewarding at concerts than football games.
That's right. Yeah, it's exactly that. It's, you know, it's just your sort of low-level stewarding, but we've sort of seen that's not really going to be good enough. So it'll have to be beefed up, certainly for the final few games of the season.
Absolutely. Well, Dan, Spurs bounced back from their Champions League exit in style, hammering Bournemouth 4-1. Now, it's not an easy place to go to, and their job was made even more difficult after going a goal down. What did you make of the performance, and how has this season gone so far, in your opinion?
Well, it certainly looked like we were hungover for the first 15 minutes, and if we weren't careful, the game could have been completely out of touch, and Bournemouth could have been flying. That said, Bournemouth did come out of the blocks really quickly, and you did sort of wonder if they could play that pace for 90 minutes, something that was quite apparent they didn't towards the end. I think the key sort of turning points was Dele Alli getting his goal for half-time, because that changed the manner of the team talk and the complexion, but also the fact that Pochettino sort of changed things post-Kane's injury, sort of more of a diamond in midfield. And I think once we got level, then went through the gears, and it was a case of the winner, I guess, Son that made it 2-1, was always coming, really. At the same time, I think there was a slight element of luck that Bournemouth's goals disallowed, because you've seen them sort of easily given as goals. I don't really feel, even as a Spurs fan, that Sanchez was fouled. I think we got lucky there, and I think, you know, minutes later we go 3-1 up, and that completely knocks the wind out of Bournemouth's sails. So a bit of luck there. You could almost even say that the scoreline flattered us, but after the events of Wednesday, you take 3 points in whatever way you can. In terms of the season so far, I mean, you can have really no complaints. Obviously, there is the disappointment of being knocked out to Juventus, but, you know, who gave us the chance of getting out of that group at the start of the season? So it is still progress in Europe. It's not as much progress as we'd like, perhaps, but, you know, we are gaining a reputation continentally, and also domestically. We have adapted to Wembley. You know, talk of a millstone around our neck has been almost non-apparent, really. I mean, I know we lost to Chelsea at the start of the season, but since then we've been flying, and the trajectory is continuing. So if you finish top 3 playing in someone else's ground this season, I think it would have to be a success. And that's not even considering the FA Cup run, which is blown wide open now that Man City are knocked out. And I think it'd be even more disappointed if we don't go on and win that.
Interesting. So tell me something. If Harry Kane's injury is as bad as suspected, can Spurs cope without him at this stage of the season, especially?
Well, there's never a good time, is there, for him to be injured? I mean, best case scenario, he's out for 3 weeks. He's back for the Chelsea game, but again, there's never a good scenario when he's missing. Can people step up to the mark? That is the question, really. I mean, he's going to have to be someone like Son or Lamella. They're going to have to play in a role they're not usually suited to. I don't think Lorenze's in favour, so I know he's sort of been brought up as the backup striker, but I don't even see him starting because I just don't think he's in favour. So it is going to be tough. That said, last season we had a similar situation around this time of year also. Kane sort of missed about, I think it was about half a dozen matches or so, and Tottenham didn't really break a stride. So you don't really know the answer until we play the matches, really. But really, we hope so, because the last thing you want is the season to be derailed at this crucial stage. But yeah, fingers crossed and just see how things pan out. But I think we'll all be praying as Tottenham fans that it's a quick recovery.
Still, Kane's out until May, apparently.
Oh, really?
That's the rumours tonight I was reading. Apparently he's out until May.
Wow, well, that's not good news then. I don't know what to say to that. Obviously, bollocks, I think, really. But, yeah, I mean, to be fair, it did look nasty. I know it's not Begovic's fault or anything, but the way he sort of collapsed on his foot was never good. There's a big bend on it, and I'm just looking at the Metro now. It says, Harry Kane, Tottenham striker, all that till May. So, going back to your question, the players are really going to have to step up now because it's going to have to be a lot of weight on Son's shoulders. At the same time, it could be the perfect opportunity for Lucas Moura to become a Tottenham hero because that's why he's been brought in to actually offer something in the first team. So here's your chance, mate.
Dan, what kind of an injury is it again?
It's an ankle injury. So it'll be the same ankle injury that he did last season. So whether there's a weakness from last season that hasn't really ever recovered, because I think, once your ankle goes once, it's always a little bit sort of fragile thereafter. You can, try and rehab it as much as you can, but there's always going to be a bit of fragility. But it looks like, from what I'm reading, it's an ankle injury until May.
I'm going to call this now. Do you remember when David Beckham did his metatarsal against Deportivo? I think it was it before a World Cup or Euros? I can't remember. Yeah, right. Yeah. That's right. Do you remember when one of the newspapers actually got a cutout of his foot and they told people to put their hand on it and pray for it to heal? They're going to do something like that for Harry Kane. I am telling you this now. 100%. You can see it happening.
It seems that an English player gets injured before a major tournament. Wayne Rooney got injured, didn't he? In the Chelsea game.
Metatarsal.
Harry Kane now. Beckham last time.
Gary Neville.
That's right.
Oh, well.
Jinx.
Oh, well. Anyway. Right. So, Rod, Arsenal.
So we're talking all-class players there who then do Gary Neville.
Well, listen, at least he doesn't spit. At least he doesn't spit. Jeez. Rod, Arsenal, your favourite team, they showed some cojones to beat Milan and then Watford in the space of 4 days, which actually led to someone on a fan TV channel saying a new manager can take this set of players to a new level. Now, I'm not sure if he's suggesting Wenger can actually Wenger's successor can turn Mustafi into Maldini or perhaps move that massive boulder that Mesut Ozil hides under every so often.
Yeah, it's what we're moaning about. Manchester United's performance. It could be worse. It could be Arsenal supporter. So last week they had a nightmare, and this week they show that the Arsenal other than what they can do. So it's obviously frustrating to be an Arsenal fan at the minute, but we know that Arsenal can do that. They've got the players that can do that. It's just the consistency that we talk about, and the lack of fight and lack of fight they have in the team, and just they seem to lay down against the smaller clubs. But when it's against the big teams, well, I say the big teams, obviously Arsenal and obviously Watford have rubbed them the wrong way when they beat them at Vicarage Road early in the season. So it was a good result and a good week for him. And like I say, Arsenal are a good team on the day, and they can beat anyone.
Absolutely. Now, Jan, I think I'm going to start calling you Jan Stradamus from now on. First, you called Alan Pardew to West Brom, even though I think they've got the dancing Pardew, not the manager Pardew. Then Allardyce to Everton. Now your prophecy of Pellegrino being given his marching orders by Southampton has actually come true. My question to you, my friend, is why now? Why have they got rid of him now, of all times, when they could have done it months ago?
Because they've still got enough games to get a successor in to hopefully have the new manager syndrome to keep Southampton up. I think it was another place, St Mary's, where the fans just didn't want Pellegrino. They didn't agree with his defensive style. Southampton wanted a bit more expansive football, so to speak. The results weren't good. So I think it's a brave but bold choice. I think the new appointment will actually keep Southampton up. I really do. I think the new manager will come in. He will lift players like maybe Buffal and Redmond, and if you get a little bit more out of them, they're match winners on their day, and it could be a difference between Southampton, staying up or going down. Apparently, Mark Hughes is being lined up for the job, so yeah. He's an ex-Southampton player as well, isn't he?
Hang about. Is it Mark Hughes or is it Leslie Hughes that they're going to bring in? Because Mark Hughes was a hero. Leslie Hughes was a scumbag. Yeah. Which one? I don't know.
I think it's Mark.
You think it's Mark? Okay. My money's on someone like Neil Warnock. Who do you think they're going to bring in, Dan? Who's going to save Southampton?
Well, they could get Marco Silva if they were clever enough. They tried to get him in the summer. But if they get someone like Mark Hughes in, I think they're going to be in trouble. Jan makes a good point that there is just enough games and there's not many points you need to get out of the mess still. But I just don't think Southampton have the quality. You look at the fact that, Charlie Austin is their top goal scorer with 6 goals this season. He's been out for God knows how long, and no one can find the net in his absence. So, too many draws. And, Saturday they looked clueless, didn't they? They looked devoid of ideas. Whether that's because they were trying to get the manager out or something, I don't know. But they've rolled the dice late, haven't they? Whether it pays off, I'm not sure. But it's going to have to be. It's a huge appointment what they make, really. If they can get Silva, I think they've got a chance. If they get Hughes, I think they've got no chance.
Do you rate Silva, Dan?
Well, I did at the start of the season, but I think his head was turned after not getting the Everton job. I think after that, he sort of had bigger ideas than we got ideas by his station, perhaps. I think he's maybe had time to sort of settle down a bit and think, okay, maybe I was a bit too hasty in my sort of career path, and maybe, given the olive branch of Southampton might sort of give him a chance to show what he's worth again, because he certainly was doing a good job at Watford, but I think the carrot of Everton that was dangled in front of him is he was pining for Goodison, wasn't he? And sort of almost sulking. So now that they've had that acrimonious split, it could be a good chance to get back into the game and do another good job.
Do you know what? I've got a sneak suspicion that you know what Newcastle did with Alan Shearer? Do you remember?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Jesus, can you imagine that happening? Wow.
Is Tony Pulis available still?
No, he's at Borough, but they could get Glenn Hoddle. They could get Glenn Hoddle back.
Well, this is the thing, though. There's no real sort of firefighter, is there? Because it's so late this season. All the merry-go-rounds already happened, and the teams that have rolled the dice early have got their sort of man who they feel they can keep them up. So when you're getting to March, you're at slim pickings, really, aren't you? Because all the sort of usual people who can do a relegation survival job have been plucked off elsewhere, and now you're sort of thinking, right, okay, well, you're working down the list. So the fact that Mark Hughes is in the running almost says a lot about the sort of candidates on offer, really. It's almost a sort of damning indictment of sort of English coaches and how coaches don't get their chance in the bigger jobs.
Can you imagine Neil Ruddock? Can you imagine Neil Ruddock, caretaker manager, and Terry Hurlock as his assistant?
Still, I'll tell you a manager I heard today for Southampton.
Go on.
Brendan Rodgers.
What? No.
That's what I heard. That's on Sky Sports News they were talking about would he leave Celtic to go to Southampton.
Get out.
That's not going to happen.
What for? What's he going to do that for?
That's what I said. It's not going to happen. But it was just something that I heard on Sky Sports News.
Utter nonsense.
I thought Brendan Rodgers was waiting for the Arsenal job.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Good old Brendan. He's waiting for that one. Yeah, no, my money's on Letizia or Neil Ruddock. or them two both at the same time. That'd be brilliant.
When you said it, my first thought was, "Man, I love it. Been there before, haven't I?"
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, they're going to get Francis Benali. They're going to get Jason Dodd. They're not going to get Ian Dowie. Ian Dowie. He'll scare everyone. That's it. My one is an Ian Dowie. There you go. Excellent. Neil Shipley. Yeah, bloody hell. Yeah. Right. Let's move on to.
Ian Dowie reminds me of Ian Dowie.
What is it? The face or is it the hair?
I won't go into that now.
Esmeralda. Right. Right. There we go. See, Dan, never a dull moment on this show. We start off like we're going to kill ourselves, and then here we go. Right. In other news, more crowd trouble to report. Now, this time it's in Ligue 1, as Lille fans stormed the pitch to attack their own players. Not because they lost to Paris Saint-Germain 12-0, but they drew 1-1 against Montpellier. Gents, Lille are without a win in 6 games, and they're battling relegation. Now, around 200 fans invaded the pitch, chanting, "If we go down, we'll take you down." All this follows the club president Gerard Lopez's meeting with fan groups who promised they'd back the club until the end of the season. You can't argue with them breaking their end of the bargain. Lopez actually promised Champions League football when he took charge. Dan, what do you think is worse, Lille or West Ham?
To be honest, it's probably the West Ham scenario, isn't it? Because I think Lille aren't as worse off. I think, like I say, West Ham have been sold more of a lie. None of them are sort of in too big a position, but I think the owners have to take some responsibility because the promise of Champions League football is quite a big one, and whether fans are guilty of buying into it too much or the owners are sort of guilty of promising the world and not delivering, it's probably sits somewhere in the two. But I think out of these two scenarios, I think the Hammers are just worse off if you had to compare them.
Jan, Lille or West Ham?
West Ham. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, it'd be interesting to see if Lille go down. In a way, I want them to go down. I want to see what happens.
Rod, who do you want to see go down? Lille or West Ham? Or don't care?
Well, I remember 1995 very, very vividly. So West Ham, I'd love West Ham to go down, but obviously not going to.
Okay, great. Well, look, let's talk about something else because this has made the news throughout the world. And it is something close to home that me and Jan can relate to. Now, the shenanigans continued over in Greece as the BARC versus AEK Athens game was abandoned in the 90th minute. I don't know why. It just blow full time, mate. It wasn't the 9 yellow cards and the 3 red cards of individuals who were sat on the substitutes bench, including the AEK manager Manolo Jimenez, what caused it. No, a goal ruled out for offside that would have won BARC the game was the reason for it. Now, as expected, and keeping with the theme of the show, a pitch invasion ensued. Even BARC's owner got involved, storming on the pitch with a gun in its holster, telling the referee, "You're a dead man." Now, what makes it even more absurd is the Greek FA cancelled the 3-point deduction imposed on BARC. I'll start with you, Jan, because you can probably shed more light at the moment. The Greek government has actually suspended the league indefinitely, and an arrest warrant has been issued to Savides because, obviously, possessing a handgun in Greece is illegal. Now, has anyone got the cojones to tell the chairman it's only a game?
No. It was. Did you see the incident still? Did you see what happened?
I did, yes.
I'm still undecided. Do you think he's offside?
No.
I don't think so either.
No, I think the angle makes him look offside, but I think he's on.
I think the guy on the far right hand side was playing him. I mean, I looked at it a few times to try and figure it out. Was he, or if he wasn't, was he interfering or all this? So, but what happened afterwards is disgraceful. I mean, it happens in Greece all the time. To be fair, not the chairman coming down with a gun. I haven't seen that before, but incidents like these, especially, you and I've witnessed Olympiacos, Panathinaikos games where after 60 minutes there's riots and the games get abandoned and this and that. Like I said, I've not seen any of their chairman with a gun coming down onto the pitch, and it's scary to think that the chairman has got not the authority, so to speak, but to come down and act that kind of way. It's appalling, and but it's Greek football still. It's been happening for years. We know it's corrupt. We know there's a lot of influence behind the scenes. We've seen you know, the Greek league, the games get abandoned or not played because of disputes with the government. And to be honest, you know, I'm not surprised. I've seen it before, so you know, nothing surprises me in Greece, to be honest.
Dan, do you remember when Paolo Di Canio pushed, was it Paul Durkin? Was it Paul Durkin?
Paul Alcock.
Paul Alcock, sorry, yeah. He pushed him over. Now, that's tame in comparison to what this guy's done, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to laugh at it because no one's got hurt at the end of the day, but you can't condone it at the same time. But like Jan says, I mean, I'm not sort of the biggest follower of Greek football, but the only sort of news you hear out of it is when something crazy like this happens. But I mean, it's obviously a hotbed of football fandom, isn't it? But this takes it a step too far, I guess. And it makes the referee pushing anecdotes in England look like a walk in the park, don't they?
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, Rod, the BARC chairman, he's actually, I think he's the fifth richest man in Greece, and I think he owns he's a tobacco distributor. Something it says Wild Wild West all over this, doesn't it? Gun in the holster, tobacco in his mouth.
Yeah, what was the worry? Really, obviously, it's highly corrupt over there because for him to do that. What the worrying thing is for me is there was actually policemen on the pitch, and not even the policemen were going near him.
No.
So
no.
you can see he's got obviously bodyguards, and he's got a gun, and the police are not going with near him. So that tells you everything. It's just wrong. You're looking at it with your open mouth, thinking, what is going on here? But it's a lot of corruption in Greece, and it's worrying from an actual chairman to actually go on the pitch and actually do that. Because after no really, you just get headlocks and frog marks off the pitch. But you know, in certain places of Europe and in the world, this stuff goes on, which is crazy.
Can you imagine Sullivan running on the pitch chasing a referee with a dildo?
No, because someone's just clotheslining. He's only a small fella, isn't it? So he'd be clotheslined, and I'm sure he won't be carrying a gun. But you know, it's like I say, it's a totally different place over there to Greece. It just wouldn't happen. You couldn't see any chairman in the Premier League running on the pitch with a gun with two bodyguards around him. It's just.
Still, going back to what Rod said about the police being on the pitch and not doing nothing to the chairman, it was actually one of them probably that gave him the gun in the first place. That's how corrupt it is.
Yeah. You said that, not Rod.
I don't want to some mad policemen from Greece.
Yeah, they do things a lot differently out there.
Yeah, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Precisely. We saw Marinaki slap Djibril Cisse, and that went to court. So, now he owns half of Nottingham Forest. But, sorry, Forest fans. Anyway. Right, so we're going to end the show with one... Huh?
There you go. You summed it up.
Right, let's end the show with another funny story. Now, I don't know whether this is an actual fictional football club, but they go by the name of Saiwa FC. Sorry? All right, I thought you were talking to me. Sorry. I say it's fictional because I actually can't find anything on the Isthmian League website about them, but they put up a hilarious yet fair reflection on what happens in non-league football. Now, if you visit at Saiwa FC on Twitter, you'll be able to see more and know exactly what I'm talking about. Here's their pinned tweet. Now, capitals, important. The club is appealing for witnesses after the referee's car was stolen following today's home loss. Despite frustrations, the club condemns this act of theft, and we urge whoever stole this silver Peugeot 307 to return it immediately. Rod, I'm sure you've heard or seen a lot of non-league stuff like that. Nothing as bad as that, though, no?
You'd be surprised, but none I can think of on the top of my head.
Dan, have you seen anything? Have you seen anything strange around your ways?
No, nothing to that degree. I've seen cars being used to heat up the pitch. I've never known a car be stolen when the referees officiating the game. So, two car-based scenarios there, both different, but that's about as crazy as it gets for me.
I'm not going to ask you, Jan, because you've seen everything.
I think the previous one was a Sunday League game that I played, and the ref sent a lad off, and the lad went off, got changed, and nicked the ref's car. But
There you
that
go.
was years ago. That was many years ago. I used to do some league football in the 90s.
But it happened. There you go. There you go. Right, and that's it for our show. Thank you, gents, ever so much for your appearance. Dan, thank you for coming on the show, mate. Before I let you go, would you like to tell our listeners your Twitter handle and how they can listen to your podcast?
Yeah, sure. My Twitter handle is @DanTrakey1983. So if you want to get in touch with any footballing projects and want to pay me to do any sort of writing or podcasting, by all means, drop me a message. If you want to listen to my Tottenham podcast, you can go to the website, which is e-spurs.com, and there's also a link on iTunes and Acast, and it's all around sort of social media platforms. So if you see me on Twitter, I'll be always pushing it throughout the week anyway. So there's many options to find it. I'm sure you won't go wrong. So thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. It's been great chatting to you guys.
Cheers, buddy. Well, when is your next show anyway?
The next show should be out tomorrow morning, actually. We'll call it on Monday, and it drifts out between sort of Tuesday night, Wednesday. So keep it early part of the week, and it will always be available.
Excellent, excellent. What are the topics of discussion?
Topics of discussion are Kane's injury, the Bournemouth game, and we also look forward to Spurs' trip to Swansea on Saturday, and also a chat about Danny Rose and whether he'll stay with the club in the summer, because he's not looking fit and he doesn't look like he wants to be there at the moment. So it's an interesting one for the England left back.
It is indeed. It is. I know that Jose Mourinho is a big admirer of his, and Pochettino likes Luke Shaw. So something might actually happen in the summer with him too. You never know.
Possibly, but I don't think even United seem that keen anymore. I think if he was going to move, there was a possibility in January, but I think every time he plays, he's not playing at the same standard that made him sort of attractive in the first place. So it will be interesting if United are willing to come in. Also, it will depend on what Levy wants to put on Rose, to be honest. If he wants 50 million, I think United will turn around and somebody else.
Mm. Well, I'll tell you what, I'd rather have an unfit Danny Rose at left back than Ashley Young, but I think that's a story for another day. Here you go. Rod, Twitter handle, mate?
Yeah, it's Rod James Diggs.
You're not very vocal on Twitter anymore, apart from when you went off on Carragher yesterday. What are your views on Jamie Carragher and his spit the dog impression?
Well, I say we've all got abuse. So we all get abuse, and you've just got to not be able to react on it. And sometimes you do, but it's just the way he's done it, and it's just like people coming back to this saying, well, the guy shouldn't have been. Yeah, no, he shouldn't have been, but doesn't give him an excuse to just go up and spit in a 14-year-old girl's face or in his car. But you can understand his frustration, but he just can't react like that. Should he get sacked? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe not. If it was me, I wouldn't sack him. But he's actually good at his job, and obviously he's apologised. And if you go into Jamie Carragher's background, he's a nice lad. He helps a lot of challenges out. He's a good bloke, even though he plays for Liverpool. We can't hold that against him, can we? But no, I wouldn't sack him, but it's just unfortunate. Just a unchanging moment, just the way it's quite.
Fair enough. I don't know where Rod's gone. He's just disappeared now. That's the joys of live streaming. Jan, what's your take on Mr. Jamie Carragher in this spitting incident?
It's a weird one still, because Carragher, being an ex-footballer, would have suffered worse abuse than what the guy said to him, to be honest. I mean, all he did was kind of mocked him about a 2-1. He didn't really swear at Carragher. He didn't really provoke him as such. Yeah, he was winding him up, but to react like that after being a professional all them years was a strange one, to be honest. Do I think he should be sacked? It's a difficult one as well, because if they don't sack him, it's like, what example are you setting? The fact that you can spit at somebody and get away with it.
Hang on. Let me stop you right there. And I don't know if Dan wants to chime in on this one, because there's another presenter that was done for drink driving, and she kept her job.
So
why should Jamie Carragher get the sack? And I can't believe I'm sticking up for him, but why should he get the sack? But yet Kirsty Gallagher keeps her job. This is just my question.
What I mean is, it's an argument. I'm not saying he should. I'm just saying that there's kind of two sides, as we know. If they don't sack him, it's like they're condoning it, as in they're accepting it. All right, he's made the mistake. But then if they don't, it's like, is it all right to do that? They're in kind of no-win situation, because there's people going to say, well, they should have sacked him, and there's others that are going to say, well, he apologised and made a mistake. So I guess it's just Sky now probably protecting their image, I guess. And I personally, I wouldn't sack him personally, but I don't know. Sky got a big decision, I guess, because he's very popular with Gary Neville on the Monday Night Football.
Was that Rod?
We have to go back to what did Richard Keys and Andy Gray do? What did they do? Something.
There's the they made a few,
banter, wasn't it?
yeah, they made the sexist comment.
Yeah.
See, is that as bad or as worse, or is it not? Is it less, or the Kirsty Gallagher thing? You're right to bring that up. Drink drivers kill people, so and she didn't get suspended away. I don't think they'll get rid of him. I think they'll suspend him, give him a slap on the wrist, and he'll come back. And rightly so. He's made a mistake. It's not a massive, even though it's disgusting, and it's probably people say it's the worst thing people can do to you. It's not. You can get booted in the head and somebody kick your head off. That's probably worse. But yeah, spitting, it's just disgusting. But like I say, it's just a moment of madness, because you didn't really see this in his playing days. He's quite composed.
He did throw a coin at Arsenal fans, though.
Yeah, throw a coin. That's right. I remember that. In the cup game, didn't he? Someone threw a coin at him. He threw it back, got sent off. That was at the Ivory, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And didn't he go in knee high on Nani as well once?
Yep.
So yeah.
He's not a saint, is he? But I don't know.
No, he's not a saint, but we haven't seen him spit in people's faces, or he hasn't got form for it. He's not Suarez on biting people and a constant in the media. It's something that we've never really seen with Jamie Carragher. Yeah, you'll get the odd kick in football, and someone throws a coin at you, you throw it back. That can happen, but literally spitting in someone's face, or it's just, we've never seen that kind of stuff from him. No, it's not excusable, but the attacking offence, I don't know. It's a rap and a knuckles for me. I don't think you should lose each other over it.
I think it just depends on the severity of it. Look, I'm not saying that Kirsty Gallagher should have got the sack. I'm just using her as an example in the sense that she's kept the job despite doing what she did. She didn't harm anyone, fortunately. I'm not saying that's okay, but as luck would have it, she didn't harm anyone. Carragher didn't harm anyone. I mean, let's be honest, I don't think he actually meant to spit at the girl's face. I think he just meant to spit at the car, and he just got unlucky because the wind took it. Like I say, with Superman, like, don't put tug in his cape and don't spit in the wind. And he's back going with the wind, hoof the ball forward when the wind takes the ball, kind of thing. I just think he got unlucky with the spit, really. If you tried it 100 times, I don't think you'd do it.
The thing is, how many more incidents like this happen still that we don't know about?
Oh, loads, man. Loads.
So...
And I'm sure loads happened even back in the day when footballers were going to pubs and drinking with fans. I'm sure, Charlie Nicholas has got a few stories. I'm sure Paul Merson has got loads of stories. But
for me, from the situation, from what...
Rod?
I just can't understand why he's reacted in that way from what the guy said. He was only saying, Jamie 2-1. He's not said anything personal. He's not.
Yes.
He's just basically said 2-1. He's obviously had it all the way down the M62 and just had enough and just done what he's done. But like I say, he was out of character.
Those two own goals he scored at Anfield is still haunting him, mate. I think that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, I've got no love for Jamie Carragher. I think he's a good pundit, but he spits when he talks anyway. So that's just my personal preference.
Still, who was recording it? Was it the young girl or was it him?
Nah, see, this is the thing. It was the bloke driving.
It was the father who was filming it.
It was the bloke driving.
So the driver's driving and videoing with his mobile phone, and that illegal.
Exactly. So there's the thing there, but the thing is, it works both ways, because you got all these people that are just like taking the moral high ground. You got one set of people that are pro Carragher. They're saying, oh, well, the guy had his mobile phone when he was driving, and then you got other people saying, oh, well, Jamie Carragher spat, and if the guy wasn't filming it, then he wouldn't have got caught on camera. It'd just been hearsay kind of thing. So it's a load of nonsense at the end of the day. Let's be 100%. Carragher was wrong doing it. The guy was wrong having his phone.
Yeah, like I said to the guy on Twitter, 2 wrongs don't make a right. Just because someone's gold, it doesn't mean you give them right to making some mistakes. Yes, the guy was wrong for filming and being on and driving. And obviously, the 14-year-old, you can see her at the end of the video saying, "Stop it, turn the phone off," because she was quite embarrassed by it. But you know, you get stupid grown men acting like this sometimes, and it's just an unfortunate situation, like I said.
Yeah, and I think the family have come out to say to ask Sky not to sack Jamie Carragher. So I'm sitting there thinking, well, I think they didn't envisage it getting so big and making big news. I think the guy who was driving, I think he's gonna lose his license. Honestly, he's gonna lose it.
The police have contacted him, haven't they, about the row? So be interesting to see what comes of that. But I think in terms of Carragher himself, I think he'll get suspended. Hopefully, it will blow over with the next sort of couple of weeks, a month, or whatever you, and then he'll be back. Because I think also from a business point of view, Sky will probably think they don't really want to lose him. I think if you looked at Richard Keys, for example, he says himself that there was dark forces at play, and there's almost a culture of people couldn't wait for him to go or get rid of him. And I think that was the sort of the blue touch paper for him to depart. Whereas Carragher, obviously, he's respected, he's well liked. I don't think they're necessarily going to want to kick him out the door because they'll end up on Match of the Day or something. So they want to protect their assets.
That's a good point. That he's not put enough noses out of joint like Keys and they probably did. And like Dan said, he's a well-liked pundit. He knows what he's talking about, and he comes across pretty well. Well,
look, there's always going to be a job for him at beIN Sports or NBC Sports in America. So it's not as if he's going to be hard pressed to find another job.
You'll have subtitles over there for him.
yeah, true. But then again, they got Andy Gray, so I guess I don't know. Right, where were we? Yes, goodbyes. Jan, what's your Twitter?
Yannicus J.
What?
Yannicus J.
Oh, okay. I thought it was at Mourinho out. Okay.
Yeah, it might start tomorrow. I'm too angry now to start tonight. Tomorrow.
Fool. That's a fool. Right, guys, we're on Twitter at Shoot the Defense. We have a Facebook group page. Please feel free to join it. Also, watch the Chronicles of a Goonos. Our friend Harry Simew, who's hosting the show. It's an Arsenal fan show. Show him a bit of love because he's got another gig doing another Arsenal show and he's doing really well for himself. So congratulations, Harry. Sorry, Dan, I had to mention the Arsenal, mate.
That's all right.
Yeah, Dan's going to stay tuned in for that.
Absolutely. So, guys, until next time, take care.